The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as the potential for the discussion about topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the persons making them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of the Neat Glass sponsored Whiskey Tangent podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
And tonight we're finally getting around to an entire episode focusing exclusively on an often ignored and often derided whiskey segment that we've been promising to do for almost 3 years now, and that's Canadian whiskey.
Our cousins to the north.
Yes, of which we've previously only featured two in 3 years. And joining us tonight on our road trip to the Great White North is the classic duo, paired here once again, the lovely and talented Sue the Whiskey Pixie.
Hi.
And the equally lovely and talented Jeff the Knight Who Says Neat.
It's Jeff.
Just Jeff?
It's Jeff.
Just Jeff.
Just Jeff.
But before we get to all the drinking and learning and laughing, Ed's here to tell us which three expressions of Canadian whiskey we'll be tasting and testing tonight.
Right. Well, we've been drinking a mess of really good Irish whiskeys.
Yep.
And so we figured it'd be a nice transition to go into the Canadian, but give them a shot. You know, Canada represent here.
Yeah.
We pulled out all the stops, all right? We got Crown Royal, who we have visited on this podcast. We did the XO.
Right.
And we said, you know what? Let's go for it. We went out and we found the Crown Royal 16-year, basically their rye. Is it 100% rye, Scott?
It isn't, but we'll get to that.
It's considered an uptick expression for them.
Yeah.
It's also a decent proof of 90. Mm-hmm. We also wanted, one walking around the town one, like what do people in Canada drink? Maybe that's not so commercial.
Around the town.
And we got like Gooderham and Worts 4-grain Canadian whiskey. So that means there's 4 grains in it. Even I know that.
Even says it right on the bottle.
Even though I don't speak Canadian. And,
Translation.
also, another thing that attracted me to this whiskey was the proof was 88.8, which is something like American bourbon companies do. Usually Canadian and Irish are pretty, they just even that shit out. Like it's 80, it's 85, or it's 90,
Yeah, you're right.
So this being 88.8, I feel like, nope, this is where it is.
It's exactly where we wanted it.
And then we felt like if we're going to do Canada right and we're coming strong, we had to do the Alberta Premium Cask Strength, which is getting all the buzz as being their best whiskey coming down from up north, 127.4 proof. Ooh. And we're going to save that one for last, of course.
Yes.
And probably do the Gooderham. I mean, I'd spelled Gooderham, but Jeff and me agree it's probably got some flavor to it, like a Gooderham.
No, it's Gooderham.
Gooderham.
There's no D in the second part.
Gooderham.
Yeah.
And Worts 4-grain. And we're going to start there.
Yeah, we're going to start there after, of course.
Right. That's where we're going to start, though. That's our first whiskey. So people can start Googling that right now while Scott goes into his diatribe for you.
Yeah. I have 7 paragraphs on the history of Canadian whiskey, which just highlights, once again, the incestuous nature of not only Canadian whiskey, but how it dovetails with American whiskey and all of the companies, etc.
Yeah. But if you cut out the word A, it's only 4 paragraphs.
It's only 4 paragraphs. Oh, yeah. Let me do that. Cut out all the A's. Take off, eh?
Go, 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 go. Someone had to do it.
I know.
So we suggest you put on some Rush or Triumph right now.
Wow. All right. So the history of Canadian whiskey. Is there like Canadian folk music? I'm going to have to look that up. Put that beneath it.
I'm a lumberjack.
I work all night and I sleep all day. I cut down trees.
Wear high heels,
I skip and
suspenders,
jump.
and a bra.
I wish
put
I'd
on
been a
women's
girly.
clothing and hang around in bars.
I cut down trees, I skip and jump. I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars.
Wow. Wow.
During the 1700s, whiskey production in Canada consisted mostly of grist mills that used surplus wheat and yielded whiskeys of wildly varying proofs that were consumed unaged. But the first commercial-scale whiskey production in Canada didn't begin until 1801 when John Molson, yes, that John Molson, the famous Canadian beer brewer, purchased a copper pot still in Montreal, Quebec.
I thought you said Olson, and then you said that John Olson. I'm like,
Who?
Yeah, I'm thinking, who the fuck's John? I thought you were just being funny, like there's not anybody famous. Then I said, oh wait, you said Molson, and that's why I'm laughing at myself.
In 1837, the Gooderham and Worts company began producing whiskey in Toronto, Ontario. In 1859, Henry Corby started distilling whiskey at his grist mill, and in 1864, Joseph Seagram began working at his father-in-law's Waterloo, Ontario distillery, eventually purchasing it outright. Meanwhile, two Americans entered this burgeoning Canadian whiskey scene in the late 1850s, J.P. Weiser in Prescott, Ontario, to work at his uncle's distillery, which he purchased 5 years later, and Hiram Walker, who settled in Windsor, Ontario, to open his own. In the 1880s, Canada instituted a bottled in bond program about a dozen years before the U.S. did, and in 1890 became the first country in the world to require whiskey to be aged. However, in the decades that follow, Canada would experience its own prohibition. Oh, Canada! Ed, did you know about that?
I mean, I'm sure it had some effect, but I know we got a lot of our whiskey from Canada during Prohibition.
Yeah.
Ask our good friend George Remus.
Yeah, so they had their own prohibition that started nationally in 1918. Interestingly, even though Canadian Prohibition allowed distillers to produce alcohol for exporting to other countries, it nevertheless kicked off a round of distillery consolidation. So in the early 1900s, a guy named Mortimer Davis purchased the Corby and the Weiser distilleries, and in the mid-1920s, Harry Hatch bought the Gooderham and Worts and merged it with Hiram Walker, along with its popular Canadian Club brand, which is a bottom shelf dweller in today's liquor stores.
It's terrible.
Oh, Canada! Although Prohibition ended in Canada in 1920, American Prohibition was just getting started, which caused much instability in the Canadian industry. However, in 1928, Seagrams began increasing capacity in anticipation of the end of the American Prohibition, allowing them to quickly expand when it did end, and to introduce several new brands, including Crown Royal in 1939. U.S.-based Shenley got into the action in Quebec, resurrecting Gibson's Finest, which is also a terrible one on the bottom shelf in liquor stores. Oh, Canada! In 1945, and Toronto-based W.A. Gilby created Black Velvet in 1951. Another bottom shelf dweller you can still get today. Oh, Canada! Out west, Calgary-based Alberta Distillers and their Windsor Canadian. Yet another one, bottom shelf dweller. Oh, Canada!
People drink these, like, just pour 7-Up into them and just live there for their whole life.
Yeah, they really do. So Alberta Distillers was purchased by National Distillers, the American corporation, in 1964. 3 years later, Barton Brands of Portly Bat fame began producing Canadian Mist. Wow. Yet again, another one you can still buy today. Oh, Canada! And Hiram Walker began distilling whiskey for Japan's Suntory in 1970. During the 70s, 80s, and 90s, as whiskey's popularity in America waned, a second round of consolidation occurred. Brown-Forman bought Barton's Canadian interests in 1971. Jim Beam bought Alberta Distillers in 1980. In the early 2000s, Hiram Walker was taken over by Pernod Ricard, who would split up Seagrams with Diageo, who in turn would get Crown Royal. And in just the past 5 years, Heaven Hill would come to own Gilby's, and those vampires at Sazerac would purchase Seagram's VO. And that is the history of Canadian whiskey.
I had the Seagram's VO. Scott, you had it last week.
Yes, it's awful. Oh, Canada!
We even got the uptick, the VO Gold. 8 years. It was the most one-dimensional. I will say this. It probably makes a very good 7 and 7 because that's all it ever was good for. Any of the shit that came down back in the day.
Yeah, it's
and
really
by the
bad.
way, if you order traditional 7-7 and you get Seagram's, understand Seagram's is like vodka basically with brown coloring in it. You don't want to drink Seagram's 7 anymore. Seagram's 7 is not what it used to be.
Correct. It's an American whiskey
You
now.
actually want to do Seagram's VO with 7-Up is what you want to order if you want the old-fashioned 7 and 7 from the 70s.
But really, you shouldn't order that either.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to help you out if that's what you drink.
Right, yeah, I got you.
It is like $15 a bottle, so.
Yeah. All right, so let's taste the Gooderham and Worts, a 4-grain.
Are I drinking? Yes.
Yeah, those 4 grains are the corn, barley, rye, and wheat, distilled separately in both pot and column stills, which they say results in a rich, bold, and complex flavors that would have made the original Gooderham and Worts proud. So this is a resurrected brand. This is not the stuff that was in yesteryear.
I mean, what is really?
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Besides like the wild turkey and like the 1950 recipe for Maker's Mark, there's not a lot of old stuff out there. I mean, I love people to like hit us up online or email us and tell us what's the original batch from 100 years ago. What is still accurate that we know of?
Yeah. It's pretty light on the nose. Just a little bit of sugar and honey.
I agree. I don't get much.
Yeah. Well, there's something kind of herbaceous though in the nose for me. Like at the end of it, like it's
there
like,
is
like
something.
a leather or something or latex.
Something. Sue, anything on the nose?
Maybe a sweet heat at the end.
There isn't a lot.
Yeah.
I just tasted it.
Ooh, licorice.
Yeah.
Sweet licorice. Like a Good and Plenty.
Are you getting that on the finish?
I got it immediately. It's really...
Yeah. Good and plenty.
Yeah.
You know what I have on that finish? The thing I'm smelling now I'm tasting is clove.
Clove. Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. There's a spice there.
Yeah. It tastes like the reason that my meatloaf got ruined. Like this really a strong herb flavor at the end.
Yeah.
And too much good and plenty.
And yeah. You're only supposed to put a couple. It's just flavoring. I kind of like this. I'm surprised. This tastes completely different than a Canadian whiskey that I've ever tasted.
I've never tasted anything really like this.
Yeah.
When you said Canadian whiskey, I'm like, any whiskey. Yeah, this is
Yeah, right?
I've never tasted anything like this. I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's not bad. It's different. I'm not done figuring it out yet.
It's pretty complex.
Yeah.
For an 88.8 proof Canadian whiskey that I've never heard of before.
Once again, this was a recommendation from Billy at Benash.
Yeah.
When he heard we were doing this and we wanted something off the commercial grid.
Yeah, and not one of those bottom shelf dwellers that I talked about.
Right, and none of the ones that's got listed.
Yeah, because we could have bought those. Like, we could have bought 7 of those for the same price that I spent for all the rest of these.
It's the reason we tasted the VO to see if it had a chance to make the episode, and it did not have a chance to make the episode.
Absolutely atrocious whiskey.
It's got the taste of it's candy something.
I can't get good and plenty out of my head
Yeah.
now. It is that and then followed by some kind of heat.
Definitely heat.
Yeah.
Heat and spiciness and...
Drop a little bit of water and tell me what you
absolutely.
think.
I will do that. Okay.
Once again, these are in our neat glass.
I lose the good and plenty and I lose the heat. It kind of, I don't know.
I think this was better without the water.
Yeah, it kind
I
of
agree.
lost something with the water.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I agree.
Yep.
This is one that does not benefit from water.
Everything kind of disappeared.
Yeah, everything just got muted.
That's why it was 88.8 exactly.
That's right. They're like, we have it where we're supposed to drink it.
Yeah.
You fucked it up.
We fucked it up.
You know how hard it was to get to the 0.8? We're literally dropping water and like drop. Okay, stop. We're there.
I mean, I'm getting a little cinnamon now, though, with the water in it that I wasn't getting before. A little sweet cinnamon, like a cinnamon roll almost. Am I stretching?
I think you're stretching.
I'm trying to salvage. I want to dump this out and get more from the bottle.
Well, go ahead, do it, everybody. Maybe there's plenty here. This wasn't that expensive, Scott, right? Like a 38, 40?
Yeah, this was MSRP is 45, but I got it for 40.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
All the way from Canada. G&W, everybody. G&W.
G&W.
G&W whiskey has that get you a drunk taste.
Oh, my God.
G&W whiskey got that get you a drunk taste.
Like the A&W root beer?
Yeah, exactly. Except I evidently don't know how that commercial goes.
Right,
So
I forget too, but I...
fucking up the whole melody.
A&W root beer's got that frosty milk taste.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so let's do the tasting notes.
All right, so on the nose, we got some notes of licorice, hot cinnamon candy with some light brown sugar, bacon spices, caramel, and a bit of eucalyptus and menthol.
Okay, I mean, that could be the herbaceous eucalyptus.
Yeah, we smelled a lot of that.
Yeah.
We smelled a lot of that. On the palate, loads of rich brown sugar, green grains, hot cinnamon candy, ginger snap cookies, peanut brittle, caramel corn somewhere off in the background.
Somewhere off.
Like somebody's popping caramel corn, but like around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Johnson's Popcorn, Ocean City Boardwalk, 12th Street, not 9th Street.
Right.
Fuck them.
19.
So fuck those 9th Street bitches.
Yeah, but from 1991.
Yeah, the 1991 popular. Because in 1992, they changed the formula.
A la, like tribute to Siobhan. The finish is long with green grasses, which I didn't really get. Clove. There's my clove.
Clove.
Cinnamon. Dominating, and then pleasantly.
In your face, Sue.
Shade.
Shade.
Pleasantly dry, oddly refreshing at the end.
Pleasantly dry. Absolutely.
Oddly refreshing.
Oddly refreshing, yeah. Yeah, these tasting notes are funny. Whiskey wash, this was.
Right.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I think we're all agreeing the water doesn't help this. We like it unadulterated.
Yep.
Honestly, sitting here right now, one of the best Canadian whiskeys I've ever tasted.
Without a doubt. One of the top 4 Canadian whiskeys I've ever had.
Because I've only had 4.
That's for sure. I have to say that this is one of the most unique Canadian whiskeys I've ever had. It's actually a very good whiskey.
I'm tasting a little bit more rye spice on it now. Jeff, what do you think?
Ed said a candied cinnamon, which is
Okay.
really right.
That's what you're getting.
On the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whiskey Wash said that. I didn't really taste the candy part of that. But right now we're pumped up. We're drinking it. It's different.
Yeah.
We're like, this is good. I have a feeling like if I drank this Tuesday, I'd be like, I mean, there's so much else I could drink. I mean, I say if you look at a fried Canadian whiskey that's different, jump in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd have to drink this against a lot of, like, I want to get like the Buffalo Trace kosher rye out here right now and see how it holds up.
Right. That's why we're doing just Canadian whiskeys tonight,
Right.
to compare them with each other. And
Yeah.
because honestly, like we were joking about,
Right.
we've literally only had like 4 or 5 Canadian whiskeys in our
Right.
life.
Yeah.
The other one was the Caribou Crossing that Jeff brought. We did a short. It was okay.
It was also disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
This was better than that.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my
Agreed.
God. Thank you. We have some contrast.
Yeah,
that's,
this
that's true.
kills that. Absolutely does.
Right.
All right.
Good. So let's look at the next one.
Yeah.
Which is one I'm most excited to taste tonight, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm a not very secret Crown Royal fan. Mm-hmm. I've drank bottles of it in my life. You
And
know.
we really like the XO.
The XO is delicious. I try to keep a bottle of that around. And what did this cost just got?
So the MSRP of this is 70, but I got it for 59.
Wow, that's a pretty good price for that.
Yeah.
So the $60 bottle for Crown Royal, which usually goes about $27, so you know that this better be damn good.
And Ed gave a nice overview of Crown Royal on episode 21 when we covered the XO.
A little bit about Crown Royal. The brand was created in a really unique situation in 1939 by Samuel Bronfman, the president of Seagram's. And he crafted this whiskey in 1939 in honor of a visit from King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the present Queen Elizabeth's mother.
Talk about
Queen
fancy.
Mom.
Yeah, talk about fancy.
Yeah, fancy.
Tea time.
They were the first reigning monarchs to visit Canada, which I found incredibly surprising.
What?
Right. They were the first reigning monarchs to ever visit Canada.
That is
Canada's
crazy.
part of the monarchy.
Canada's
Right.
here.
Well, maybe they didn't want to come over on the ships.
I guess. It's
Yeah,
just
like, we heard
pretty
about
shitty.
you, Canada.
It's a
Well,
long
no, that's
journey.
true. Before 1939, ship travel was a little sketchy. I
Yeah,
can see that.
Yeah.
So he made 600 different versions before he came up with the Crown Royal that is around today.
600.
600.
Right.
Wow.
And
That's some perseverance.
Yeah, he has a time on his
and
hands.
Yeah.
the blend still comes in the same distinctive cut glass bottle and purple sack with the gold trim and tassel drawstring that was presented to the king and queen 80 years ago.
Sorry.
We heard purple sack and we just
We looked at each other and just started laughing.
purple sack. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, we are children. Sorry.
It's uncle and nephew is how we deal with sorry.
Or like maybe Barney.
Barney, there you go.
Please continue.
Yes, please.
Better fucking be edited, by the way.
No,
Crown Royal Company.
no, that's gold. We're staying in.
Purple sack.
Gold
Sorry,
Purple
tin.
sack.
So fast forward. He after that, he fucked me all up. Hold on, let me start over.
It's all good.
So the blend still comes in the same distinctive cut glass bottle and purple sack with gold trim and tassel drawstring that was presented to the king and queen 80 years ago. The recipe and process for making it also remain the same, with the essential Crown Royal ingredients of locally sourced grains and the use of charred oak barrels. Now, the property is huge. The Crown Royal Company, a branch off of Seagram's, if you will.
Where about in Canada is this?
It's in Manitoba,
Oh.
right on Lake Winnipeg.
Oh.
And at any one time, they have over 1.5 million barrels of whiskey on their premises.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow.
Production runs nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It requires approximately 10,000 bushels of corn, rye, and barley, and roughly 900,000 of gallons of water every day. 80% of those grains are obtained locally in Manitoba and other surrounding provinces, and the water comes right from Lake Winnipeg, which is naturally filtered by limestones in the lake bed.
That's very interesting.
I just saw on VinePair that Crown Royal itself, just the base spirit, was the #1 selling whiskey in the United States in 2021,
It's amazing.
having sold over $460 million worth.
Much to the chagrin of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, and they did a top 20 in 2021, and 3 of them were Canadian. So they had the Crown Royal, which was #1, and down farther on the list was Canadian Club and Black Velvet.
Oh, fuck.
Can you believe that?
I can.
Yeah,
So, yep.
I know. So released just in 2020, the Crown Royal Rye 16-year is oddly nowhere to be seen on their website. So I went to drizzly.com and modified their description, which I'm going to have Sue read in her best sexy air traffic controller voice.
All right.
I appreciate the large
The large
fonts.
type, yeah. I'll turn up the light, too.
Thank you. All right. Lounge in luxury and savor each unique layer of the rare stock Canadian rye whiskey, hand selected from our most special reserves. This remarkably smooth, award-winning whiskey is carefully aged in charred American white oak barrels for no less than 16 years,
Oh my God.
which intensifies its complexity by mellowing its finish. Unhurried by time, Crown Royal 16-year rye is deliciously bold and irreverently spicy, softened by creamy vanilla and sticky caramel, while hints of fragrant clove and hot cinnamon warmly linger.
Oh my God. We're going to take a break and we'll all be right back.
And a shower.
And a shower.
I had an intense finish, and it was not mellow.
Oh, shit. Was it sticky? Oh my God.
The nose is amazing. I'm already smelling it.
All right, so the proof of this is 90, as I believe Ed said earlier. The mash bill, so you asked about that. It's 90% rye and 10% non-disclosed. They did not disclose what the other 10% grain is.
90% rye, 10% asparagus. It's 90% rye and 10% of the shitty thing that we have to put in all Canadian whiskey.
That make it taste bad.
We've kept it down to the least amount by law. Meanwhile, Canadian Club is 60%.
I know. Seagram's VO is 100
I just recoiled in disgust from the
nose. Really? You don't like
nose
it?
was nasty.
Really?
Maybe it's when Ed said asparagus.
Maybe. You
And
started smelling asparagus in it. Asparagus pea.
Yeah, the chambermaid's curse.
Right.
I mean, I smell like a sugar cookie or something, like a lemon sugar cookie.
Oh,
Sweet.
that's interesting.
I'm getting a very sweet forward. Yes.
I'm getting a lot of rye spice, but I can see where you guys are doing it too, because I was really focused on the rye spice because I know there's a lot of rye in this, but I can see both of your tasting nosing notes.
10% of my aroma is undisclosed to me.
Smell it again, Jeff. Is it still off-putting to you?
Smell it again, Jeff. It's a shop where you can bring in your things to be smelled again if you're not sure.
Again, Jeff.
If you think your milk is bad, you're not sure, bring it in. Jeff will smell it for you.
Smell it again, Jeff.
I'm going to
73.
copyright that right now. SmellItAgainJeff.com.
Cha-ching.
Honey, is this milk bad? I'm not sure. Well, let me drive down to Smell It Again, Jeff. Smell It Again, Jeff, if you want a second opinion. Can I cook this chicken? Is this turkey lunch meat still good?
Bring it in and I'll smell it.
And smell it again, Jeff.
And if I don't like it, I'll smell it again. Bring it down. Smell it again, Jeff's right on
Route 73.
White Horse Pike in Andalusia.
Andalusia. Oh my God. Oh, wow, I'm going to have a field day in editing. That's going to be amazing. I mean, I think it has a fine nose. I think Jeff said in all that mayhem that he was no longer put off by it.
I think Jeff has a fine nose, actually. It's very centered.
does.
It's very
It's
centered and symmetrical.
Yeah. It's not too big, not too small. It's Goldilocks. It's the Goldilocks of noses.
What, did you smell anything sweet before you taste it?
Very little.
Okay.
I got a lot of the sweet, but I couldn't really distinguish anything else. And now I'm tasting it. I get zero burn, zero spice. It's just very smooth and light. It's not complex to me, or
Yeah. I don't think we're getting a lot off the noses on these Canadian whiskeys.
I wouldn't
Maybe the
even-
last one will be different, but both of these have been pretty light on the nose.
Tasting it.
Ooh. Has a really nice flavor.
Very smooth for 90. I mean,
Yes.
very smooth.
I didn't even add woodery.
Uh-huh.
I didn't add woodery.
Yeah.
Woodery.
Okay, Sue's going for a little lie down now.
I didn't add wooder, and I would never add wooder to this.
Okay.
It would just ruin it, I think.
It's got a nice creamier mouthfeel than the 88.8 that we just had.
Yeah.
This tastes really nice. There's some fruit. There's some caramel.
Ranking Bourbon said it tastes surprisingly elegant. That's just one of the, I'm just putting it out there as a foreshadowing what he said. And I would say that it's Crown Royal. It's not going to become something else because you aged it. And Crown Royal is a very delicious and simple whiskey. You know, traditional notes of like vanilla and caramel and rye.
Yeah.
And because it's usually 80 proof?
Yeah, it's 80 proof.
Yeah, so the original Crown Royal, you drink it all night. It's approachable. This is 90 and still very smooth, but while not as complex as the first one, it certainly is a more established whiskey.
Yeah, it's a deeper expression of the Crown Royal and much smoother than the last one, even though I really like the last one.
Yeah.
Maybe if we didn't have that first, I might feel different about this
Mm-hmm.
one.
Possibly. Yeah,
So-
the drinking order does have definitely
Oh,
effect.
absolutely. Our palates have been altered by the first one for sure. And it's contrasting in your mouth.
Yeah, take a bigger sip maybe, because that might help.
I'm getting a strong cherry vanilla.
Cherry vanilla, that's a very good. That's
Very
a
good,
tasting
Jeff.
note.
Yeah, that's very good. Because I usually taste the cherry, but I didn't. I was tasting some kind of berry sweetness, but cherry vanilla nails it because it's not really just cherry.
Right.
It does, and it's like a cherry vanilla ice cream. Because you get that creamy sense.
It's very creamy.
You know,
don't you guys think? It's I don't want to give Gabe $1, but I'm going to because it has a very oily mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Gabe said oily mouth.
Oily mouthfeel, yeah. He's patented that. That's his. Yours is Jeff smells it again or whatever it is.
No.
What is it?
Smell it again, Jeff.
That's it. Cha-ching.
Down and smell it again, Jeff.
Oh shit! That might be the name of this episode.
Smell it again, Jeff.
Okay,
We smelled our own things when I was a kid. All right, when we was coming up, we didn't have to go down to this fancy schmancy place that some guy could smell your stuff again. Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. Guys, I got the
all right. Enough of that.
What's the big idea?
Hey, fellas! It's the big idea.
Well,
what do you want? Swell?
I mean, I'm so biased towards the Crown Royal. It would have to taste like battery acid for me to be negative about
I
it.
really like this.
I mean,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, this is something that I like to drink. It's simple and delicious. Like, so they say here, I'm not even going to read the nose because it's pretty much in the tasting notes again.
Okay.
Notes of Cracker Jack, candy corn, fresh mint, and I definitely get some mint on this. Dark cherry, plum, and layered oak. That's all they have. Medium long with a slow and steady ramp up of baking spices for the finish, rye grain, but ultimately a little thin on the finish. And I think that's also what Sue noticed. It's not a really strong finish.
And I agree with that. Overall, it's not a thin whiskey.
No.
It's so
But-
light that I consider like you could drink this with a meal. Like you would never really have whiskey with a meal. This is so light
right.
and smooth
Absolutely
that
right.
you could have this.
Never had whiskey for a meal. You're crazy.
Yeah.
So cute.
That's so adorable. We have whiskey with every meal.
You just don't drink alone by yourself in the corner crying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
But that's the meal. You drink alone by yourself with a pizza.
Right,
a whole
that's-
pizza.
Right, that's between meals. That's snacking. For snacking, I just drink alone in the corner and cry.
Yeah, but it is interesting, Sue, what you said. If I had to pick one of these two whiskeys that we've had already to see which one you would like better, I would have said this one.
Yeah.
But I think you like the first one better.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
And that's
but, like,
why you have to taste things.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that you're not going to like it or that you are.
So, I wish we had some regular Crown Royal.
I know. I do too.
That's what we fucked up. We'll save this. This will come back around.
It will.
There'll be a wormhole one day.
Yeah.
We'll drop this in.
Yeah, and we'll compare maybe an older expression of Crown
Yeah.
Royal and new Crown Royal. Yeah.
So we'll see what's going on. But
They have so many whiskeys.
yeah, I like
It's ridiculous.
Honestly, of the flavored whiskey profiles, Crown Royal is the best quality. Like the Crown Royal vanilla is just a delicious whiskey.
Yeah, we're going to do an episode on flavored whiskeys coming up
But I
too.
mean, there's a lot of shit ones out there, but Crown Royal, I mean, they've embraced it and they have like apple.
yeah, they have
apple.
like 4 or 5 different
They're
ones.
peach, they're apple.
Yeah. They have the regular expression. They have a rye. They have a black. The blender's mash. The blender's mash was the one that they got in trouble with because they called it bourbon mash because it's a high corn thing.
Yeah.
And America was like, you can't do that. You can't call it a bourbon.
You can't call
do
them
that.
bourbon, bitches.
The XR, extra rare 18 year. They have a reserve, a wine barrel finish, and a winter wheat that actually has a mash bill. It's a wheated whiskey, 51% wheat, 39% corn, and 10% malted barley. Some of them go for like $340. Their wine barrel finish is like $340. Like it's really exclusive and expensive.
I should say that Billy Benash offered me the 43-year-old Canadian club, I think, for like $350 or something like that.
There's a 43-year-old
Yeah.
Canadian club.
And it's only $300 something. But that's still too much for us to buy just to talk to you people.
Jesus.
You people.
To you people.
No, I mean, I'm not going to spend $350 on any Canadian whiskey.
But yeah, on any whiskey.
Any whiskey.
Sitting there on your dirty couch, listening to us.
Right. As pathetic as we are, what's wrong with you?
Right. Just remember, you're listening to us.
Where's the bar? Where's the bar?
Right. We have 4 separate train wreck lives that we're dealing with, all combined to entertain you. JK, we love all of you.
No, we do.
JK.
We love everyone who listens to us.
Especially Canada, because Canada's our second market. And so this is really just whoring ourselves out to Canada right now.
Yeah, and definitely that's why we picked some expressions that were kind of a little bit upticks.
Blame it on Canada.
Yeah. Blame Canada.
Poor Canada.
Pour whiskey in your cup. Oh, now we're making for the national anthem. Damn
it.
We try so hard to make good impression.
All right, so to make up for that, before
The Queen is here.
the Queen is here. Hello.
I like how that's the Queen music.
Yeah, that's the Queen music.
That's the Queen's music sauntering through the city. I mean, first of all, we've been an hour at this, and that was our first Canadian joke.
Was
So
it?
kudos to us.
I don't know. We did the A takeoff and all the A's and
Right, unless you count all of the whiskeys that Scott read that we won't drink.
right.
I think Jeff was
Canadian-
just making a disclaimer. That was our first joke.
Yeah,
We didn't joke at all.
I think
before now.
Canadian Club was the first joke.
yeah. I think we've been nothing but shade. We were doing Cashadian whiskey.
No, the two we've had have been very drinkable and
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah. I've really enjoyed both of them.
You've selected well.
Yes, yeah. So before we stop and clean these glasses and taste the last expression, I have the rules and regulations of what a Canadian whiskey actually is. Boo. So a Canadian whiskey can be made of any cereal grain, and a finished product typically blends several types of whiskey, such as wheat, corn, rye, and malt, or all of them, that had all been milled, mashed, fermented, distilled, and matured separately. So Canadian whiskey doesn't have a mash bill.
Explain that.
Okay, so they do corn by itself. They make a corn whiskey.
Okay.
Then they make a malt. Then they make a wheat, and they make a rye. And then they take different portions and blend them together.
Oh, like barrel.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Canadians are really master blenders.
Right.
So the rules, there's 5 rules. 1, must be made from a mash of cereal grain or cereal grain products. Number 2, must be aged in small wood. Oh, Canada.
What does that mean?
Less than 700 liters.
Well, they're Canadians.
Yeah, they're Canadian.
Small
Right,
wood.
yeah.
It's cold up there, though. It's
Yeah,
shrinkage.
it's cold, shrinkage, right. For at least 3 years. Number 3, must possess the aroma, taste, and character generally attributed to Canadian whiskey.
That would be that 10% undisclosed stuff that makes everything taste like vinyl hell.
Yeah. And number 4, must be mash distilled and aged in Canada, of course. And number 5, must contain no less than 40% ABV. It can contain a little bit of added caramel coloring and up to 9.09% of added flavoring.
How does that compare
I don't
to
think that- I don't-
American whiskey?
Oh, you're not allowed to put any flavoring or coloring in American whiskey. In
So
bourbon
so they cheat.
or rye.
Well, liqueurs you can. So if you're doing
little
like,
bit.
yeah, like Fireball can have coloring in because it's not a real whiskey.
Right. Yeah, so those are the rules and regulations.
All right.
All right, so we're going to stop here, and we're going to come back with probably the most elite expression in Canadian whiskey,
Right.
the Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye.
All right, so we're back. Looking forward to enjoying the last whiskey of today, the Alberta Premium Cask Strength. And is this owned by vampires or no?
This is not owned by vampires.
Is it owned by Buffalo Trace?
No.
Beam Suntory?
Beam Suntory.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
other one, yeah.
Yeah, the other one, the good.
All right.
I'm impressed.
I'm so excited about this one. Not the least for which, because I spent $94 on it.
Yeah. I mean, we have no connections in Canada to send us whiskey. So we've had whiskey sent from as far as Ireland. So
Yeah. So honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of history about this distillery online. It's like they have been working since 1946 and they've just been doing their thing. They got bought out by Beam Suntory at some time, National Distillers.
Almost like they were dodging the draft.
Maybe.
And it went to Canada.
They went to Canada to dodge a draft. Exactly. That's what happened. So I do have a short description and the stats and everything. thing, and then we'll taste it. Here we go. An explosive taste that is bold with its own earthy character, made with 100% Canadian prairie rye and aged for a minimum of 5 years. Alberta Premium is the original 100% rye, and in an effort to innovate within the Canadian whiskey category, it's being released at Cask strength, with a deep history rooted in heritage and quality that I couldn't find anywhere on the internet. Alberta Premium is proud to be a major player in the resurgence of Canadian whiskeys, and Alberta Premium Cask Strength is the award-winning result. It is a true reflection of what a distillery can be. It should be noted that this is the stuff that is in WhistlePig.
Really? That's interesting.
This is the stuff that WhistlePig sources. Their barrels that they found somewhere in Canada. This is it.
Well, how come WhistlePig is way older than this shit?
I think WhistlePig takes
It's like 10, 12, 15, and then this is...
Yeah,
oh,
so-
by the way, we kept the 5-year stuff in Canada.
Yeah, so WhistlePig bought some of their older stock, and then they refinish it in like wine barrels and, whatever they do, the Boss Hog stuff. They take their whiskey and they do stuff to it.
They do stuff to
Do stuff to it.
That's,
They soil it.
yeah. And then Jeff smells it twice. All right, so the stats are, it's a Canadian cask strength rye. Its proof is 127.4. Mash bill is 100% rye. There's no age statement. It's at least 5 years. I suspect it's probably a little bit more than that. Alberta Distillers in Calgary, Canada. Beam Suntory is the owner. The MSRP was 70. Again, I paid 94, but I've seen it as high as like 110. It's kind of exclusive in America.
It's got a really nice bottle in the sense that
does.
it's got like flat panels raised up and then like little diamonds raised up. And then like the middle's all flat where the label is.
Yeah.
And then it's got a plastic cap, which the other two whiskeys we had tonight have corks on them, and they're like 35 and 60. This is called premium with a legit like Seagram 7 plastic cap on it.
Canadian Mist Black Velvet.
Lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, like everything's good. The proof is right. The bottle itself is catchy. You could not get a cheaper plastic cap on this bottle. I mean, holy crap. I feel like I got like a bottle of Smirnoff in front of me right now.
No, so it was included in Jim Murray's 2021 Whiskey Bible, and he wrote this, which I thought was really cool. There's a succulence to the oils, balanced perfectly by honey, which ensure the most chewable Canadian mouthful possibly ever. Truly world-class whiskey from possibly the world's most underrated distillery. How can something be so immense yet equally delicate? For any whiskey lover on the planet looking for huge but nearly perfectly balanced experience, here you go. A rye at its most rampantly beautiful. This is something to truly worship.
That sounds a lot like marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a reviewer. Jim Murray, he's famous
okay,
in his
okay.
2021 Whiskey Bible.
Just like having sex with Martin Short.
Oh my God. Something to truly worship? Jeff, is there something you need to tell us?
I do not know Martin Short. I
have never met that man.
I'm aware of his work. Senator, I know Martin Short.
You are no
You are
Martin
no
Short.
Martin Short.
I do not remember.
All right.
All right, so let's smell. Okay.
Wow.
I'm getting sort of like, oh, geez, you did it again. I think you went too deep in.
Well, that's my modus operandi.
Right, so you're on the neat glass. So put your nose like right in the center of it. So you're right on the rim. So you're getting some of the alcohol. So go.
So I'm putting my nose on the rim.
Yes, you're putting your nose in the rim, and you don't want to do that.
You're rimming it.
No, you're doing it again. Put your lips on the lip. There you go. Now dip your nose in and smell from the center.
Oh, man. Yeah, that makes such a difference. I'm getting like really
Perfume.
It's very
perfumey.
expressive.
This reminds me of, it took me right back to when I was like 8 years old and my mother getting ready for church on Sunday. And God bless her, but she would douse herself in Poison perfume.
Oh, I remember Poison.
Going to church and putting on poison.
Poison. Right? Is that like a just shade to your preacher there?
Just mom was poison.
Just a big butt and a smile. That girl is poison. Woo!
That's how she rolled.
How was your mom, by the way?
She's great.
Oh, I love your mom. Just a big butt and a smile.
Wow.
Anyway, back to the nose.
Anyway.
It is 127 proof. So even with the neat glass, you're going to get a little bit of alcohol. It is, as Jeff said, very perfumey on the nose. I totally agree. There is some sweetness there. I feel like I almost want to drop some water in it and then smell it before I taste it. And I think I'm going to do that anyway because it is 127. It's going to be fine with that.
All right, I'm going to do
You're not going to proof this down to like...
Put it down to 122.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So put the drops in, however you want, and then put the cap back on and swirl it around again.
I'm getting like caramel, maybe some...
Yeah.
I actually get like a marzipan, which it sounds really bougie for me, but that's why I'm kind of getting like a...
The almond paste sweetness.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
honey.
There's a nutty thing. Honey, definitely.
Butter. There's like a butteriness to it.
Ooh, I just got a little like a buttery vanilla caramel thing.
I threw it on a cube or two.
Yeah, I'm going to go in and sip it. Oh.
Water definitely opens up. To me, it makes it like I get more butter than I got before. It's
definitely buttery.
It's like a creaminess for being so hot.
Yeah. And I'm putting a little bit more water in it, which is not my want, but it's very hot.
It is hot. Ooh.
On the nose, they said that we should have gotten butterscotch, apricots, hazelnuts, toffee, baking spice, bits of oak, and buttered gingerbread loaf.
Oh, that's interesting.
loaf.
Loaf.
I mean, I can see those. Maybe not apricots.
Anybody want to add something on the taste?
I had to put 3 cubes in mine.
Yeah, that's why I gave you guys cubes.
As soon as you started adding yours before even tasting it, I just didn't even question. I just started adding to mine.
Yeah.
The butterscotch
Okay.
follows the heat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it says that they have that on the palate too, and on the finish. So definitely, they say butterscotch is a prominent tasting note here.
I mean, you can get this down to a proof that you like it. It's so high.
And I mean, you get down to 105, 108.
And you're going to get it to a spot that's good for you. This whiskey is super complex. I can see why WhistlePig takes this stuff. And
I even taste, I'm trying not to, but I can taste a little bit
of what WhistlePig has in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely can.
Absolutely.
Break this out next December because this tastes like Christmas.
Okay. Baking spices
A
and...
spicy plum flavor.
Okay. Plums.
Yeah, for somebody like me, this is not my sweet spot.
No.
The proof is undeniable. I have 3 cubes and water in it.
Yeah.
And it's still just...
I feel like if you let that sit,
That's what I'm
so
just
it was
kinda like,
a few
you know.
minutes in that and try it again.
I feel like you're right, Scott. I can proof this down where I want, but if I got to take one from today, I'm taking the Crown Royal and going home.
Okay.
This is a lot of work for me. This has got a lot of spice, which I don't care for. It's not my flavor profile. It's more your flavor profile.
It's 100% rye.
Yeah, so it's super rye for me, and I do like rye. I like elements of rye. This is hitting me over the head with the rye.
It absolutely is.
So I think people who love rye and love Dad's hat and things like that, which Scott doesn't like it, but I think he'll know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying.
And
The ones that are in your face.
So I think that this is not my cup of tea. I respect it's a delicious, complex whiskey but I'm just getting way too much rye for me.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. I agree with your assessment. I really like this because of exactly those reasons. It's a little hotter than it needs to be, although you can always proof it down. And we're waiting for Sue to proof hers down to see if it changes
I'm
anything.
waiting for the cubes to completely melt.
That's the app we need. We need something that you can put into your drink.
And test the alcohol.
Test the proof.
I
mean, that would make us a lot of money.
Yeah, that really would.
So you're at 108. Try it now.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So what's the palate?
So the palate is butterscotch, sugar cookie, hazelnuts, baking spice, vanilla, fondant, some oak and lemon. Water tames the proof and unearthed a strong buttery bakery profile.
Yeah. I mean, I can see all that. I'm going to put a little bit more water in it.
Finish is long with more butterscotch, herbal tea, banana foster, and some baking spice.
Oh.
It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, this is a
And
whiskey.
that's from the whiskey jug.
Yeah, he loved this. And I tend to agree with him on this particular whiskey. This is great.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how much water to put in this to get it to where exactly I want. And I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah. Sure.
Jeff, what do you think?
I do like it. The heat puts me off,
Wow, the heat puts you off.
but I could stick with it. And
Yes.
it's interesting getting the different flavors out of it.
Yeah. Did you put some water in it?
I did put water in it.
Okay.
But I do get a holiday feel to it. I don't know why.
No, I mean, there's baking spices in there and bananas Foster. That's an interesting tasting note.
I got bananas Foster.
Yeah. A buttery bakery.
Try it now. You like it now. Seriously.
Okay, yeah.
You're
So-
still at 85 or 90.
So Sue's going to try it now.
Sue just took her water and
Here she
splashed a
goes.
dollop in there. So it's probably down like 85, 90 now.
Yeah. It's like a regular Canadian whiskey now.
I know my people are out there. They feel me.
Absolutely. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, there's a ton of people
There's a reason
that drink right at your level. Too much water?
No way.
No?
Let me try it.
Yeah,
For people.
then it just loses too much flavor.
I agree with you. So that
Right.
side of the panel, so you're with Ed. It's like it's too much work.
Too much work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm out.
There's
you do
too
her
much math involved.
That's absolutely fair. But Jeff and I will be sipping on this for the rest of the night.
Sipping on it all night.
Oh no! What is that song? Or did you just make that up?
I just made that up.
All right.
Sipping on that all night.
It's an original. It'll be played on a loop at Smell It Again, Jeff.
Smell again, eh?
So, to sum up real quick,
All right, Ed.
we
Yes.
feel like we've honored our cousins to the north the best we could. Gooderham and Worts 4-grain 88.8 was surprising and different. The Crown Royal 16 at 90 proof did not disappoint. It is who we thought they were, right?
Right.
Like we knew what they were, and they were going to be a little bit smoother, a little bit more complex than they were. And then the Alberta Premium Cask Strength is a complex journey of proofing and not proofing and enjoying and not enjoying. I get why it's hyped. I
Yeah.
get why people like it. If you like that profile, it's going to be one of the best rye whiskeys you've ever had.
Yeah.
If you liked some of the high proof WhistlePigs and some things like that, you're going to like this as well. And for $100, maybe it's a bargain for you.
Yeah. So Ed, your favorite was the Crown Royal 16.
Yep.
Sue, I think you liked Gooderham and Worts.
I did. With the water.
Yeah, with the water.
Yes.
Jeff, what was your favorite?
I'll go with the Crown Royal.
You'll go with the Crown Royal as
Interesting.
well. Okay.
Surprise.
And I like the Alberta Cask Strength.
Right.
So, like, there's something here.
Yeah,
For everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So just
Definitely.
here's our advice. When you go to buy Canadian whiskey, look at the bottom shelf and then raise your eyes up
Look away.
and raise your eyes up again. And when you're looking at the top shelf, grab away.
Yeah.
And then you should do okay. As long as you don't have like something that's below your waist, you fucked up. Don't do that.
Oh.
Right. Don't grab below the waist.
Don't grab below the waist, especially not in a public store.
Yeah, don't grab below the waist in the liquor store. You don't want to do that.
All right, so we appreciate you all for tuning in and checking out our homage to Canadian whiskey and our journey to try to find something that's special or drinkable.
Yeah,
And I think we've done a decent job tonight.
I think so too.
All right, and so for the Whiskey Tangent podcast, I'm Ed.
I'm Scott.
This is Jeff. Take off.
And this is Sue.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, be sure to check out our next episode, which is way better than this one. Oh, yeah. Also, follow and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Whiskey Tangent. And follow us on Twitter at Whiskey Tangent. You can follow me personally at That Whiskey Guy. And follow Scott at Giant Cup of Awesome, spelled AWSUM, just to be annoying.
Hey.
You can email us any questions, comments, or love at whiskeytangent@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us always at our podcast website, whiskeytangent.podbean.com.